Will now be recorded.
Okay, I'd like to call the Site Plan Review Committee to order for Tuesday, July 19th. Roll call, please.
Dennis Bursick.
Here.
Mary Podolsky.
Here.
Dan Pamprin.
Here.
Gary Paul.
Here.
Chris Atkinson.
Here.
Dale Quinn.
Here.
And Andy's excused.
Okay, please stand for the pledge. And please remember our men and women throughout the world in uniform. I have no changes to the agenda. I need a motion to approve, please.
Motion approved. Second.
Motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 5, action on the site plan review minutes from the regular meeting of June 7th, 2022.
Motion to approve if there's no corrections.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve those minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. B, site plan review committee meeting minutes from the meeting of June 21, 2022. I need a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve those minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. 6, review plans for the following locations. 6A, action regarding requested site plan review for Wisconsin Building Supply, parcel VA-228-14-L-102, 1176 Contract Drive, refuse, enclosure, and exterior improvements. Aaron.
All right, thank you. Let's bring up the site plan here. There we go. All right. Requested site plan review is for a refuse enclosure, as you can see on Contract Drive, right here in the corner of the new refuse enclosure. Consists of your pretty typical chain link fence with privacy slats, 6-foot-high chain link fence with privacy slats. Additional improvements will include some concrete pads for new mechanical units. Other building improvements include replacing the existing standing seam metal awning with a new metal panel system and replacing the existing brick veneer with a stone veneer as indicated on the elevation inset, which you can see right up here. In terms of recommended staff conditions approval, use of fully concealed fasteners for exterior metal awning panels, screen any new or larger replacement rooftop or ground-mounted mechanical units visible from the property boundaries or public right-of-way, and then the catch-all meet all applicable requirements of the Ashwaubenon site plan review and all other applicable village ordinances. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Otherwise, I believe a representative of the owner is also in the audience.
Aaron, it's a nice-looking enclosure, and the new facial on the entrance is nice, but is there any way that dumpster control, or dumpster can be pushed alongside of the building rather than front of it?
I guess I'd probably leave it up to the owner to answer that question. Mind? Yep, right up here, and just state your name and address, and then you can speak to the board.
Dave Lentz, McMahon Associates, Neenah, Wisconsin. Probably the biggest challenge we have by putting it more on the side of the building are the grades. There's about a 3-foot, I don't know if we can see it on the plan, there's about a 3-foot retaining wall currently just beyond that stairway. So we would have to dig out a portion of that grade to make that dumpster work there.
Would that be much of a problem?
It would affect the drainage, and it'd also be a cost impact.
Are you going to have the concrete pad extend a ways in front of the enclosure itself so that the weight of the truck doesn't demolish the blacktop?
Yes, we have almost probably 8 to 10 feet in front of the gate. Right now, we align it with the current slab for the loading docks.
Okay, so you do have that.
Yeah.
Okay, so the probability of moving it back is not very good. All right. There's no other questions, I'll move to approve. I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the requested site plan for Wisconsin Building Supply VA-228-14-L-102.
Is that with staff conditions?
Yes, with staff conditions.
Yep, with staff conditions on the first and the second. Okay? Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, 6B, action regarding requested site plan review for Recycled Plastics, Inc., RPI, Parcel VA-228-14-K-37, 3110 Market Street, Refuse Enclosure. Aaron?
It's a recurring theme for today's meeting. Another refuse enclosure. This is for Recycled Plastics Incorporated on Market Street. As you can see on the site plan right here, it is proposed to go in front of the building. That's to speak with the developer, architect, builder on this one, and there are problems with putting it to the side due to existing development and space limitations. The fence, or the refuse enclosure will again be 6-foot-high chain link fence with privacy slats, as is pretty common. One issue we ran into is the fact that the fire department connection, or FDC, is actually located somewhat behind where the refuse enclosure will be. That is allowable, provided that there is signage posted on the refuse enclosure indicating the FDC is located, just not visible from the street at this location.
Really?
Yep. In terms of staff conditions, it was just that coordinating with Ashwaubenon Public Safety regarding approval of the posting of a sign indicating the location of the FDC.
Looking at it, looks kind of weird. Can we have a better description of what that looks like? Is that for company use only? Or is that for public use to get rid of plastic materials?
Probably ask the owner's rep. Yep, come on up. Just have a seat and name, address. You can go ahead and answer the questions.
My address or the company?
Company's fine.
Brian Gotsey, Recycled Plastic Industries, 3110 Market Street. So the question was, is it for public use? It is not.
It's for
company use only.
company use. The only reason I'm asking, there's always some way of getting rid of plastic. And looking at this, I was wondering if this is for public use also,
No, it's not.
strictly. So it's for your refuge only.
Exactly.
All right, and then that is the only place you can put that because of property restrictions?
It is, and we're growing, so we're adding 4 more lines, and we have to add a new air compressor that's going to take the space that was previously for the trash dumpsters.
Oh, so you're actually bringing that outside rather than inside then?
We were bringing it outside anyway every time the trash guys came, because we don't want them pulling into they never make the turn. So we bring it out every morning for trash pickup and then roll it back in.
Okay, all right, another thing, the concrete, is that on a concrete pad right now, or you're putting a concrete pad in?
It's not on a concrete
So
pad.
you're having it on blacktop?
Yes.
Expect it to be crushed with the trucks?
It's been, they pick it up in the same spot it's going to be.
Well, they have been,
Yeah, ever since I got there a year ago.
okay.
And we already did put the FDC connection sign up, so you can see it from the street quite easily.
Okay. Okay,
So I have a question with that FDC connection. You said that it is allowable, Aaron, for that
Yes, it is.
FDC?
As long as the sign's it.
So, say there's a fire there, hopefully never a fire there, but so our fire department has to roll the containers out? No?
No, they have access to it.
Okay,
Yeah, and the location on there isn't exactly right. It's to the right, just before the dock door, so there's still a straight shot to the connection
okay,
by about 5 feet.
okay. Okay. I have no questions. Does anybody else have any questions, comments? No?
Well, the only comment I got, these refuge containers, sometimes there just ain't a place to put them, I understand, but it sure is not the prettiest thing in front of a nice-looking building. You've done some extensive remodeling over the last few years and made that building look like something, and now you put a refuge container in front of it. It's not their fault, I'm not really talking at you, but it's better than just having a garbage container out there. I mean, it's one step better than that, but it's not making the building look pretty, let's put it that way. So, but you don't have a choice, so. No other questions again? I hate to say I'll approve it, but we have no other choice to help them out.
Is that a motion, Gary?
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the requested site plan for recycled plastics, Inc., parcel VA-22A-14-K-37 with staff conditions. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. Any more comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
6C, action regarding requested resubmitted site plan review for Bell and Health, parcel VA-147-5, 1630 Comanche Avenue parking lot addition. Aaron?
Right, as indicated on the site plan, in the shaded area here to the northwest side of the existing parking lot at Bell and Health on Comanche, proposing the addition of a parking lot out here, along with the stalls and a dry detention pond, take care of the stormwater management for the site. This was originally approved back in 2018. For whatever reason, it didn't happen at that time, so it's coming forward again for renewal after the year-long expiration of it. It will include 18-inch mountable curb around the exterior of it and landscape islands as indicated on the sheet. Stormwater management plan has been reviewed and approved by village engineer, and the proposed number of ADA accessible spaces with the addition meets federal standards. I did receive a phone call just before the meeting from trustee Flukie requesting the addition of a bicycle parking that meets the standard of the American Society of Professional Bicyclists Association. Other than that, there are no other conditions of approval. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. I believe might be a representative of Fort Bellin actually online.
Okay, does anybody, they don't have any bike parking on here right now?
There is, it's on the east side of the building. The request from trustee Flukie was to locate additional parking on the west side of the building.
You know, they just being a customer of that property, first of all, I wish they put more parking by the front door, so I wouldn't have to walk as far. That's getting harder. As the gentleman down on the other side of the board can attest to. They have already made small pads by the front entrance to put bicycle racks already. This has already been done. You can't get a bike rack any closer than to the front door. You are going to put a bike pad back here and make them walk to the front door where there is already bike racks?
So the request from trustee Flukie was to locate it near the west entrance to the building, not back in the addition. It'd be located somewhere up in here, near that entrance on the west side.
So that would be something separate
Is there a
entirely
west?
from this, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So there is a west entrance there?
There's a west entrance right
Does that
here.
go into the gym?
Well, one is on the gym end, right? And the other one is the main drive-through with the canopy,
Correct.
right? Correct?
One with the canopy has got a new pad with a bike rack on it.
On the west side?
No, east side.
On the east side, yeah. I
end.
just
All right,
walked by it today.
I misheard the west side.
Yeah, brand new, actually.
Well, let's see how many bicycles get in it.
There weren't any in it today when I went this morning.
There were.
It was empty.
None, no,
Brand-
I tripped over it.
Pardon?
I tripped over it, there was none in.
Do we have any kind of an ordinance on requirements for bike?
So we do have the ability to require bike parking consistent with the bike and ped plan, and that is in our site plan review ordinance, is that if the committee so determines that bicycle parking makes sense in a certain location, yes, you can require it.
So it already has bike parking on the other side, though.
Yes, it does, on the east side.
So if somebody comes with a bike, they can park on the east side and go in the door on the east side, correct?
That's correct.
3 feet from the door, right? Something like that? 3, 4 feet from the door. I was very close to the door with a brand-new concrete pad there.
I don't think it should be, this is my opinion, they already have a bike rack, I don't think it should be a requirement.
Well, first of all, the main entrance is where the people come in. Unless it's the entrance by the west entrance, I can picture it because I got my shot there for the pandemic.
Well, that's an urgent care
But
entrance.
that is not the main entrance to the building.
No, if
That is
that's what's
just-
meant, yeah.
Yeah. You know,
Yeah, I
I
agree.
would say let it up to, if a company needs it, if they can see the need for a bike rack, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But for us to tell them that,
And they already have one.
and they already have one, yes.
Yeah. I agree.
So I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
I'll second.
With no bike rack requirement.
Well, it wasn't presented.
It wasn't anyway.
What I can do is I'll relay that to Bellin, and I'll mention that there was a request from a trustee to add a bike rack at their discretion.
At their discretion.
Correct.
Okay.
Sounds great to me.
So we have a motion and a second to approve as presented. Any other comments?
Nope.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. 6D, action regarding requested site plan review for Concentra, parcel VA-187-7, 2920 Ramada Way refuse, enclosure, and vestibule addition. Aaron?
Another refuse enclosure for our review. This is for the remodeling of the former 199 ride, or for those of us who go way back, the backgammon on Oneida and 41. It's being remodeled into Concentra, which is a occupational health and urgent care provider. As part of their remodeling, they are adding a vestibule to the front entrance, redoing the ADA accessible parking, and adding a refuse container to the side of the building here, set back from the front. Again, 6-foot-high chain link fence with gates and privacy slats. Nick Westfall, representing the engineer, representing the applicant, is on the line if you have any questions for him. Otherwise, I'm happy to answer them as well. There are no recommended staff conditions of approval.
Okay, does anybody have any questions?
Eric, yeah, I see it. I see it. Boy, we sure have problems with refuge containers in this village. But at least we are trying to make the best of it. That's more than I can say for some other communities that I get through. I don't know of anything you can beat up on this. I just hope they got enough concrete down to support the truck. I don't know if they got a little pad in front of the dumpster to eliminate that mess, because the mess will come if they don't. Other than that, at the front end of the building. The vestibule should look nice. They've been doing some work in there for the last couple of months. No other questions? I'll move to approve as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve as presented for parcel VA-187-7, Concentra. Any other comments? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. 6E, action regarding requested site plan review for Alliance Management Apartments, parcels VA-859 and VA-883, 1580 West Main Avenue. Aaron.
All right, there is a refuse enclosure with the site plan, but it's not the primary reason for the site plan. There are proposed 6 separate apartment buildings for a total of 144 units and 6 detached garages, as you can see in the site plan. The units are oriented perpendicular to Main and Cypress. In between, we do a bioretention to handle the stormwater from the site. The applicant has received approval for a wetland exemption for a artificial wetland or man-made wetland that was in the lower, I guess the southeast part of the property. He had received documentation or approval from the DNR on that. Couple items. There is actually a village water main that extends from Cypress to the south, roughly to about here, and then extends over to serve the adjacent property. So we are requiring a 20-foot utility easement on that, so we have access to that water main in case there are any issues with it in the future. The property is actually owned by the CDA currently. The CDA does have an accepted offer to sell the land to Alliance Management here shortly. Property is zoned R3 multifamily residential. That was approved by Village Board a couple months ago. A couple of highlights with the project. Has a mixture of 1, 2, 3, and actual 4-bedroom apartments, which we don't see many apartment units with that many bedrooms in the community, so it is providing a different niche. They do have 2 to 3 baths. Total 224 parking spaces provided. They will need to provide a minimum of 7 dedicated handicapped accessible spaces under the standards that we utilize. In terms of exterior materials, get to the exterior elevations here. As you can see, the first floor consists of masonry. It looks like 3 elevations. Actually, it's a 2-story building where it looks like 3 is actually a loft area for the apartments individually. So the first floor does have masonry. The upper floor does have board and batten, like a LP Smart Side material. You see the balconies and patios between, and the articulated roofs for the elevations. In terms of garages, again, board and batten, LP Smart Side for the detached garages. The mail kiosk, similar materials and makeup. There are direct access to West Main Avenue Trail for those folks who might be interested via the 2 driveway access points. And residents do have ability to store their bicycles in units attached or detached garages. In terms of recommended staff conditions of approval, provision of a minimum of 7 dedicated ADA parking spaces, of which at least 2 are van accessible. This one has been taken care of, the documentation of the DNR approving the artificial wetland exemption. Recording of a combination certified survey map to combine parcels VA-883 and VA-859. Then the catch-all, meet all applicable requirements of the Ashwaubenon site plan review and all other applicable village ordinances. And then from engineering, recording of a 20-foot utility easement for the public water main along the western edge of the property. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Otherwise, we have representatives of the developer online as well.
They're in that 20-foot easement. They're not building over that.
No, they had to shift one of the buildings a little bit to allow for that 20-foot easement.
You cannot build over a water built main like that, am I correct?
That's correct.
Okay, all right, I just get that straight in my head. It looks like a nice project. Looking at the materials being used, it blends very well together, in my opinion. I like the garbage enclosure. Looks very nice, mortar, brick mortar, slatted, heavily armed corners that hopefully don't get pushed over by the dumpsters. I think they're smart enough to know that concrete in front of it will definitely preserve the asphalt. It met all of our ordinances, as you said.
Yes, sir.
I think it's a great addition to the village, so I'll make a motion to approve as presented with staff conditions.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the site plan for Alliance Management Apartments, parcels VA-859 and VA-883, with staff conditions. Any
Can I
other
ask Aaron
comment?
one
Yeah.
question? So Aaron, you said this, it's not a three-story building?
No, it's actually, it's 2 stories. The upper, what looks like upper windows there are actually lofts for the second floor apartment.
So is that,
But there's bedrooms up there.
Yes, there is.
Okay. So,
Hey, Aaron.
Oh,
Can you hear me?
Yep, so Eric Gorky, the developer's online, he could probably answer the question better. Eric, would you mind?
Yeah, no. So we have a second. I'm getting an echo here. Okay, I'll just have to talk through it. So we did have a change to the building design, and we do have 1 bedrooms on the 3rd story now. So it's a 3-story walk-up.
Okay.
So on the backside, you do have lofted, area that you can see, and on the front side, the 1 bedroom. So where you see that second deck over the garage doors, that's the 1 bedroom that we added.
Okay, got it. Thanks, Eric.
So that has changed since it was originally brought.
what's actually on here?
was there a light subject brought up in front of this project that is taken care of, I believe?
That was from the business that fronts on Packerland, Food Safety Net Services.
There you go, yeah.
They have concerns, I guess there were residents of the apartments west of the proposal that have, I guess, raised concerns to Food Safety Net Services about their lighting that they have there. So they were concerned that additional apartments are going to cause additional concerns for their lighting at their facility. I guess, Eric, would you mind addressing that?
Yeah, so they were worried that their light pollution would affect our tenants, which we reviewed and won't be a problem for our apartments.
What brought that up, I noticed there's a schematic here from Voss Electric.
Yep, that's for light spillover from this property onto other ones.
Right. So it's taken care of.
Well,
Correct.
yes.
Okay. Very good.
Okay, any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, number 7, department reports.
Right, we're seeing good progress on a number of the projects around the village. You see all the activity going on at Hy-Vee, as well as just down the street here, Bohemian Park, the Merge, the Commonplace project, and Mike McCarthy. It's keeping our building inspectors busy, which is, thankfully, we have 2 of them now, so it's working out well.
Okay. Number 8, items for next agenda. Do we have next agenda?
We do. So far, at least until 4:30 today, we'll see if anything else comes in. There's a 54,000 square foot addition to American Custom Metal Fab on South Broadway. There's a garage addition for the Marina Circle parking lot. And we did receive these site plans for the proposed 12-story coachway condos on the corner of Mike McCarthy Way and Holmgren Way. So that'll be coming to site plan review at the beginning of the month.
Okay.
I have one question. A little definition from Aaron. Aaron, you and I have talked about this. Our road inspector, Chris Atkinson, at 25 miles an hour, gave me a call regarding fasteners. He noticed that as he was putting on the brakes going 25 miles an hour on a building on the corner of Oneida and, what was the other one? Cormier. Definitely there are some fasteners on that building. I will let you take it from there, Aaron. You gave me a good description, and I think we should all know this. Because if we go down Oneida Street and look at anything that has been built in the last short number of years, there are some fasteners that are exposed. And Aaron has got a rule that I wasn't aware of till he told me, so I'm going to let you take it from there.
Sure. So if you remember when I first started here 5 years ago, one of the issues that kept coming up was, do we require concealed fasteners or do we allow exposed fasteners? And it seemed like every project that came forward, that was about a 20, 30-minute debate going back and forth, and no one ever walked out of here happy one way or another. So at the time, we said, okay, and the issue really was dealing with those more industrial buildings that would have the exposed fasteners or concealed fasteners, and a metal wall panel specifically. So we went through, amended the ordinance to just say, if you're going to have metal wall panels, or masonry wall panels for that matter, they have to be concealed. Since that time, we have walked that back a little bit, where we do allow for semi-concealed fasteners within our industrial zoning districts on non-street facing properties for additions. But really, I'd say probably 90% of our projects still require concealed fasteners for our metal or masonry wall panels. What was brought up is that there are some exposed fasteners at the Mission Barbecue building, and it's not for the wall panels necessarily. It's more of an architectural feature for the, I guess, the shutters, you want to call them. The Old West type look with the shutters that close up and they have the metal band across there. That does have exposed screw heads, but it really doesn't, it's not part and parcel to a metal wall panel or a masonry wall panel or any other kind of wall panel necessarily. It's more of an architectural feature for that style. There's also for the awnings that come down, looks like they're actually exposed rivets is what I think they actually are. Similar to the that shutter look is that that's kind of part of that architectural style, and they aren't necessarily wall panels. They're awnings, so it's a little bit different. So I guess that was how we looked at that, and Joel and I spoke about this quite a bit actually, kind of questioning ourselves, going back and forth, reviewing the ordinance, and in our interpretation, that building is in compliance. Now, is it a kind of a gray area? Oh yeah, definitely. One thing that I always strive for as a administrator of zoning ordinance, site plan ordinance, whatever it is you want to get 95% compliance. There's always going to be that 5% that are just, they don't fit the parameters of what you set up. And What some communities will do then is they will amend their ordinances to try to address that 5%. What happens is you try to address the next 5%, next 5%. Your ordinance becomes this jumbled mess that's impossible for anyone to really administer it effectively and consistently. So, you know, the fact that this is one of those kind of oddball situations, you know, I think it doesn't look bad. I think it fits the intent of our ordinance, where we don't want to see exposed fasteners on metal wall panels. You know, that was the intent of that rule change. So I think we're in good shape. So I appreciate, you know, Gary and Chris bringing that to my attention as, again, that one of those situations that's just, it's an odd one. And, you know, I think we still meet the intent of the ordinance, which is why I think it meets.
I'd have to agree. I think the building actually looks great. I just don't want to see somebody get away with something and then the next person come in and say, but you let them.
There you go.
So where do you stop with it? That's the only reason I brought it up.
Yeah.
So what you're saying, Aaron, is that these exposed are more of an architectural, they're not necessarily holding a metal wall panel to a wall?
Right. Whether they're actually screwed into the wall, you know, I can't tell. It's kind of an architectural feature. But I don't see it as, I guess, I see it as meeting the intent of the ordinance yet. I don't see it as not meeting the intent of the ordinance.
You know, this has been brought up, and Dan, you brought this up a long time ago when this architectural metal started coming around. Why would you want that on a building when the first rain starts rust? And from rust, it drips down onto your freshly poured concrete. I think Titletown was one of the best ones. Why did they want this? You know, Quick Trip pours a lot of concrete on their entranceways and lots to finish off their projects. You don't see any metal hanging around there. They keep that concrete as nice as possible. But I agree with what Aaron said after it was explained to me. It is an architectural thing. It is not a structural thing as far as the fasteners. So I think you addressed that quite well, Aaron. So hopefully we can understand it. Do we want to get it any more than that? No. Right. That's not the purpose of it.
Okay. Items for next agenda, we will have some, so stay tuned. Okay, I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.